Hi, this is Terry with Palomar College Academic Technology, and let's talk about using photos in Windows Live Movie Maker. I have 3 photos within the Windows Explorer here, and I'm going to bring them into Movie Maker. Let me pop Movie Maker up. Here we are in Movie Maker. To add the photos, click on Add Videos and Photos. Select your photos. I'm clicking on the first, holding down Shift, clicking on the last, and clicking Open, and there they are. These are 3 buildings on our campus, and the first thing you'll notice if you look at these thumbnails is that there are black bars next to them, but we'll talk more about that in a moment. First, I want to discuss what kind of edits you can perform on photos in Movie Maker. When I click one of them, it becomes selected. That is, you see that framework blue border around it. I can take it and drag it to another position in the video. You see that vertical line. That's where it's going to reside when I drop it. That is, release the mouse button. So they can be rearranged by dragging around. I can select multiple and move them at the same time, like that. And the only other edit I can do is to, once a photo is selected, go to Video Tools, the Edit tab, and change its duration. The default duration is 7 seconds, which is much too long actually for most pictures that become a video. I can click on the first, hold down Shift, click on the last to select them all, then change the duration of all of them to 3 seconds. Okay, now you'll notice whichever one I select, it has a duration of 3 seconds. Okay, that's the easy part of this lesson. There are a couple more things you can do with photos, like add transitions between them or add pan and zoom effects on them, but that's for another lesson. Now I want to talk about those black bars and the general topic of aspect ratio. Remember in a previous lesson we talked about aspect ratio, and you set that for Movie Maker on the Project tab. I'm set for a 16:9 aspect ratio here, widescreen, or called high definition also, or I can change to a standard 4:3. Notice the preview pane doesn't show those black bars on the left and right of this in the widescreen aspect ratio, but take my word for it, you will see them when the video is produced. Those black bars will exist. So we have to do something to prevent those black bars. If I were to change to standard screen, now the black bars are at the top and the bottom. And the reason for it is I took these pictures with a digital SLR camera. The aspect ratio used by a digital SLR camera is almost always 3:2. Okay, that's neither 16:9 or 4:3. Most standard digital cameras take pictures in a 4:3 aspect ratio, some multiple of 4:3. So they'll fit nicely in Movie Maker, and you won't have those black bars. But a digital SLR takes photos in a 3:2 aspect ratio, and you will get those black bars regardless of the project aspect ratio you choose. Now, let's say I want to do my project as a 16:9, and I have to do something about those black bars now. So I'm going to delete these pictures from Movie Maker. And I'll close Movie Maker, in fact. Don't want to save my project. And go back to my pictures. I'm going to double-click my picture, and I've associated my JPG photo type with Windows Live Photo Gallery. You get the photo gallery along with Movie Maker when you download it from the Windows Live site. And I would like to edit and organize or share my pictures. Okay, I've got them up here in the editing window now. Looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? Same sort of look as Movie Maker, but I still can't crop them to one of those screen aspect ratios. I have to choose 4:3 or 16:9, remember. The way you do that is to double-click any one of them and bring it up in what is called one-up view. And now I have some different editing tools, slightly different, and one of them is the crop tool you see here. Crop tool has a drop-down. I can hover over proportion and choose widescreen 16:9. That's what I'm looking for. And you'll see a transparent window with the rest of my picture sort of dimmed out. I can move these handles to choose the maximum size allowable within my picture, move it around if I choose, but when I press Enter, I will preserve this picture in a 16:9 aspect ratio. Now don't worry, nothing's been lost. I can revert to the original if I want. Windows Live Photo Gallery does not destructively edit. It saves the original and applies any changes I make, any edits I make, to a copy that I'm now working with. And I always can revert if I want to. Okay, the way I save that change is to click the Next button to move on to the next photo in the folder that I'm working in. And you'll see a message that said Save there if you looked very closely. Let's go ahead and crop this picture to 16:9 also. And we can once again adjust its handles, and notice as I move the handles, that 16:9 aspect ratio is retained. Okay, let's get rid of that sidewalk in the 4 view anyway. We don't need that, so let's press Enter and move on to our next photo. These are all buildings on our campus, by the way. And let's crop this one too to 16:9, and let's leave it about like that, but come up and get this little greenhouse on the end of our natural science building. Okay, that's what our picture is going to look like now. I'm clicking Next to save. Now I'm back to my first picture again, so I'm done. I can close Windows Live Movie Maker now, and they're all cropped to a 16:9 aspect ratio. Let's go back to Windows Live Movie Maker, and let's add those photos once again, and select them all, click Open, and there they are. Only this time you don't see any black bars in our thumbnails, and they are cropped to a 16:9 aspect ratio. So that's how you handle cropping. Now, had I wanted to choose a 4:3 aspect ratio for my project, I could have gone in and cropped them all to 4:3, so I won't have any black bars on the sides or on the tops when I produce my project. And that's the story on the rather complicated topic of aspect ratio. Thanks for listening.